What is up, you guys? We're putting a bow on UFC Vegas 71. The main event just wrapped up not too long ago. I'm happy to announce it was another profitable event. That's back-to-back events that were very profitable here. Tonight, we brought in just under 7 units, hitting 3 of our 4 official plays. Can't wait to tell you the plays that we targeted. A lot to talk about. I mean, we'll jump right into it. Kicking the card off, we had Carlston Harris defeating Jared Gooden. If you guys remember, Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov pulled out due to an illness, but we saw him over at the Bellator event yesterday, supporting his relative there, who took out Ben Henderson now retiring from the sport of MMA. But we just wanted to mention that we saw Abu Bakar over there, all smiles, running around the octagon. I won't speculate too much what was exactly going on. I mean, I didn't dive too deep into it. I just know that he didn't make the walk, and I've talked about those guys in that circle kind of having a problem with making that walk consistently, if you ask me. But anyways, Carlston Harris takes out Jared Gooden. Props to Gooden for stepping up on short notice, being able to step foot in the octagon once again. I mean, that had to be big for him, because that'll probably be the last time we see him. Maybe they give him an opportunity for stepping in, but I just don't know if he's a UFC caliber fighter. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh on him. Carlston Harris, he's a funny fighter, man. We talked about the fact that he doesn't throw the most technical shots, but he's a scrappy dude and he's a well-rounded fighter. You saw the telecast team talking about how he doesn't throw straight shots. He throws those slapping down punches. We talked about that, and that's exactly what he did. Gooden was there to be hit. Harris took him down and had some success down on the mat as well. And that's about it there. Bruno Silva goes out there and has a beautiful performance. With a long layoff, he hadn't stepped down in the octagon in a while. Now that's 3 finishes in a row, 3 victories in a row. He's a great addition to the flyweight division, if you ask me. We talked about the fact that he's been training with guys like Demetrius Johnson and Henry Cejudo, the 2 best men in the world at that respected weight. That's going to do wonders for your career. Bruno is very patient in there, and props to Tyson Nam as well. I'm going to say that because Tyson Nam continuously was coming forward, trying to make this an entertaining fight, but Bruno Silva, being patient, eventually hits him with that front kick, and then eventually got him with the rear naked choke. And Tyson Nam also goes out on his shield like a G, doesn't even tap. Tyson Nam is a fighter that I'm excited to see perform once again in the right matchup. So props to both those men. And Bruno Silva, we know he's a promising fighter there. Ariane Lipsky with the upset of the night, taking out JJ Aldrich. Hopefully none of you guys were targeting that as a bet there. I mean, JJ Aldrich was pretty much picked unanimously around the board if you were taking a look around. I mean, Aldrich, this was a major letdown for her here. Lipsky jumping around in weight a little bit. She looked good for the weight class here. She was the bigger fighter. She was more aggressive. She was landing at will in Aldrich, and we got to give Lipsky props there. And in Aldrich, although very technical with her boxing, she is shown to be a head case there, and she drops the ball majorly. All right, now we're talking about the first official play that I targeted here. This was my lone loss in the card, a very small underdog stab, a 1.5 unit play on Tony Gravely. He loses the fight via split decision. No arguments for me here. I just will say I slightly did edge Gravely, winning rounds 1 and 3. They were very close, but he did use his wrestling to kind of edge those rounds out, if you ask me. The reason why I kind of looked or seemed as Henry should have got the nod for sure was the fact that in the second round, he dominated. He was very active. He really pushed the pace on Gravely. But if you ask me, Gravely kind of got a little second win there in the third round. And again, at the end of the first round with the takedown he had, I thought he did enough. He landed some heavy shots as well. A good fight, but no argument for me there. But these split decisions have not been going my way all year. But yeah, you could very well say Henry deserved to win that fight. So, I'm not going to sit here. Josh Fremd pulls off the guillotine choke on Cedricus Dumas. Josh Fremd looked good here. Fremd, he's a scrappy dude. We talked about the fact that he's a well-rounded, scrappy guy. Does have some small holes, some mistakes that we've seen him make in the cage. We thought maybe a guy like Dumas, who we don't really have a long rap sheet on, but we've seen him go in there and pull off a quick sub on Dana White's Contender Series. We thought there was a possibility maybe he would get a sub on Fremd. We've seen Fremd subbed. Dumas looked to be a promising striker as well, but there was some question marks about his grappling, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Fremd, it was great to see Fremd get that victory. He seemed to be very, very pleased with getting that victory in the octagon. And you heard the post-fight speech and all that. And he's a big dude for the weight class, man. Fremd is a big dude, but he needs to sharpen some things up if we're talking about Fremd facing off with some upper echelon fighters in the division. Davey Grant pulls off the inverted triangle choke on Rafael Sansao. I got some things to say about this fight here. No action on this fight. You guys know, I've said I've been a fan of Sansao for a long time. I've been following him since roughly 2009 or so, whatever it was. I've been following him from the WEC days. It's just I got a little special place for Sansao. He's just a fighter that I've really seen perform for a long time. He's a well-rounded fighter. He's always a class act, as you saw again once today. Sansao, great game plan in this fight. He was playing it very intelligently, in my opinion. And then Davey Grant continuously grabs the cage. Okay, first off, he grabbed the cage a couple times there at a very pivotal point in the fight. Finally, the Marlboro Keith takes a point away from Grant, but I know due to the rules, I think he did the right move technically, where he took the point away, but then he stood them up because Davey Grant was supposedly taking the top position. But Davey Grant would have never been in that somewhat so-called top position, which I call BS in that anyway, if he wasn't grabbing the cage. Sansao was about to scoot him down to his butt and kind of get a hold of his legs, and so you're telling me, think about it like this, right? So if you're down in the scorecards, if you're down 2 rounds, in that case, if you have an opponent that's just strictly trying to take you down, grab the cage literally at all costs. You could be hanging as the opponent's grabbing your waist and whatever. Hang on the cage. They could take points from you all day. It doesn't matter because you need that finish, and you cannot allow the fighter to take you down like what was the case here. If a Sansao solidifies that takedown, there was only 20, 30 seconds left in the fight, and he wins the fight there. In fact, there was 15 seconds left, I believe, when the choke was hit up. It was horrible. But think about that. It makes no sense because the points can be taken away, but you don't really care about that. And if you also grab the cage and kind of use the cage to manipulate the position and get on top of him, they'll take the point away. And then due to the fact that you're on top, they're going to stand you up. Makes no sense at all if you think about it like that. I was disappointed because Sansao then gets choked out after that. And, he's about to lay the gloves down. I would have loved to seen him raise his hand right before he did that. But like a class act he is, you saw how he handled it. And shout out to Rafael Sansao there. And Davey Grant's a fun fighter as well. Props to him. Carl Williams defeats Lucas Breske. Williams showing that he's a solid fighter, has some power in his hands. Yeah, he could wrestle. He was an ex-football player, but he could wrestle. He can grapple. He's a well-rounded dude. And it's a big win there. Breske's no slouch. Now we're talking some action here. We grabbed Vitor Petrino at pick'em odds to take out Anton Turkalj. I know I've been calling him Turkaj. I guess he spells it Turkalj. Excuse me there. But Vitor Petrino is a stud, and he showed that he's more than just a heavy hitter. He's a well-rounded grappler. Needs to cut some of that muscle out, work on his cardio, and he's a very promising fighter, very young, and basically that 1.5 unit nullifies the loss on Gravely. So we'll talk about these 2 next big hits that we take that bring in straight profit. And Vitor Petrino, I'm very excited to see him perform in his next fight. Mario Batista pulls off the rear naked choke over the old man Guido Canetti. Props to Canetti, though. Canetti was feisty, had some moments in the fight. Batista now calling out Cody Garbrandt. I love the call out there. And Mario Batista, in my opinion, is definitely deserving of a fight like that. He's a fighter that has proven himself now. He's going in there, he's scrapping it up. And speaking of fighters like that, Jonathan Martinez, a very similar type of fighter. He's been proving himself for some time. Gets that step up in competition. I think that he got gifted the W here a little bit, if I'm being honest with you guys. I thought that Said Nurmagomedov won rounds 1 and 3. And, Jonathan Martinez eventually snuck out of that body triangle, got back up to his feet, pushed the clinch on Said to end the 3rd round there. Didn't really do anything with it. There was about a minute and a half left on the clock. The crowd was definitely rooting on Jonathan Martinez, and that definitely influenced the judges' scorecards, in my opinion. You guys let me know what you think there. I mean, I said that there was essentially more value on a Martinez line here. I wasn't really looking at the Said betting line. I thought it was a little high. I know Jonathan's a dangerous fighter, but what's right is right. And although Nurmagomedov was breathing heavy and whatnot, I thought he took that fight there. What did you guys think about that? Nikita Krylov, a 4-unit play here for me, -160 betting line on Nikita Krylov, the fight that was rescheduled. I felt confident about this fight here. I thought that Span would be dangerous early in this fight, but Nikita Krylov is a proven, well-rounded fighter. He's a dangerous man. What a fun fight. The scrambles, the pace that was pushed in this fight. What an awesome fight. And, Ryan was talking about how he has worked on his cardio and this and that. I'm not believing that. I think if that fight would have even went on longer, you would have really seen Krylov take complete control of that fight. Nikita is a force to be reckoned with in the light heavyweight division. And then we had the cherry on the top, a 3-unit play. Grabbed it at plus 130, 135 actually, I believe, on Alexander Volkov. We dabbled with that line a little bit. The line moved around. I was feeling myself tonight, even had some money to throw around. Obviously, it's not an official play, but I was even doubling up on Volkov, had a couple of drinks, and even threw some more money on that Volkov line. So as you guys see, I'm cheesing it right now because we really did good. I made a lot of money tonight. But let's talk about this betting line. How is Alexander Volkov a plus 130 roughly underdog against a guy like Alexander Romanov? I don't understand why you guys were high on Romanov. I got a lot of comments, a lot of posts on Instagram saying things about Romanov in a positive light. The guy has one of the worst gas tanks in the division. He's a complete front runner. If he doesn't take you down and smash you within the first couple of minutes, he always flakes out. And then you're talking about a guy in Alexander Volkov that's a proven fighter in the light heavyweight division. He's been battle tested against guys like Curtis Blades, getting back up to his feet at the end of the 5th round. With a guy like Blades on top of you. I mean, Volkov, we know he's extensively been working on his jiu-jitsu and wrestling. We knew that we were going to see the best version of Volkov here. Romanov just lost to a guy, Marcin Tybura, which if you want to do some MMA fighter math, Volkov is a much better fighter, or a better version of Tybura, which we saw when they faced off when Volkov took Tybura out as well. I just don't understand what you guys were seeing there. When you guys saw him walking out and you saw how flabby he looked to be in the worst shape of his career. I know all you guys that had action on Romanov were definitely second-guessing yourself. I know I was feeling extremely confident. Like I said, man, just attacking the live betting line there as they're walking out, throwing more money on it. And Alexander Volkov absolutely bullies and just plays with Romanov. I know there was a brief fence grab. Come on, guys. Regardless, Volkov was just going to absolutely beat Romanov down. Romanov gave up in that fight, and he was checked out very early in that fight. So that was one of the better plays that we've hit this year, if you ask me, just based on the fact that I just feel like the line was extremely off, and we sniped that. All right, and then to end the card here, definitely no official action with this fight. You guys know I wanted nothing to do with this. You guys know I was back and forth with who I was going to pick to win this fight. I was going to pick Merab to take out Yan. I didn't. I did pick Petr Yan. I thought Yan was going to come in very hungry and kind of edge this fight. You guys know I said that the betting line was off, and that's when we were talking about Yan being a minus 160, minus 170. Now, if you guys saw the betting line throughout the week after our episode came out early in the week for this card, a lot of action came in on Petr Yan. He was in the mid 200s, almost a minus 300 on some books, minus 250, minus 260. It was ridiculous. So you obviously know what I felt about that betting line. The value was all over Merab. But more than that, Merab actually goes out there and just straight up dominates Petr Yan. This was a huge L for Petr Yan. He's now lost 4 of his last 5 fights, completely derailing any of that momentum of him being the king of the division. That's all gone now. No more about the controversy of the Sean O'Malley fight and the Aljamain Sterling. He now gets dominated by Merab. He's still young, and he'll still wreak havoc in this division, but it's going to be a little bit down the totem pole. And now you got a guy, Merab, that he's probably going to be looking at the winner of Marlon Vera and Corey Sandhagen, a fight that will be taking place relatively soon. He doesn't want to fight his boy Aljamain Sterling. I completely understand it. I respect it. I really do respect it. It shows you how loyal of a guy Merab is. He's like a golden retriever, man. He's just a loyal dude, and I respect Merab, and I think he has, without a doubt, one of the best gas tanks that we're seeing right now in the fight game. Shout out to Merab. Petr Yan shoved him in the neck at the weigh-ins. Petr Yan was being the villain here. Merab's just constantly a class act, and you gotta love it. And what did you guys think about that main event there? I thought the whole card was just a fun card. All right, guys, so that was the quick recap of UFC Vegas 71, another profitable event, bringing in just under 7 units. Feeling good right now. Like I said, back-to-back cards where we're really righting the ship here, and I'm taking this momentum and we're bouncing it forward to this upcoming weekend. We're going to really start to get things moving here. You guys know we had a slightly slow start to the year, but things always regulate. We have a long track record right now, especially over the last 3 years, where we've continuously been bringing in very, very serious units. And I told you guys last year we had a slow start as well. If you guys remember, I had a slow start to the year last year for 2022. So funny enough, 2023, we start off in the month of January pretty slow and throughout the beginning of February and whatnot, but really starting to get things moving right now. And I feel good about that. I'm really embracing these wins, because you guys know when you're taking losses, it's frustrating, it's tough, but you got to, play it smart, play it smooth, and then enjoy the victories as they come. All right, guys. So appreciate you guys. Hit that like button on your way out. You guys know how it goes, man. Checking in on my social media, subscribe to the channel, everything's scrolling below, and make sure you guys check out the content that's coming your way this upcoming week. We got a lot to talk about.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.